The lack of transportation options in rural areas has a significant impact on residents getting the access to health care that they need. Let's take a look at how communities are coming together to give residents both the transportation and health care access they deserve. Hanna, let's talk about a program like Project TRIP in Hertford County. How is that changing the game?
Programs like TRIP are a great example of how communities are really focusing on being innovative and trying new things as they are working to address these transportation gaps in rural communities. North Carolina is really interested in really leaning into innovation and finding new ways to leverage technology, community relationships, exactly like they're doing in Hertford.
Brandy, who are the stakeholders in a program like TRIP?
Yeah, so definitely anchor institutions, so your hospitals, your federally qualified health centers, your school systems, the institutional organizations and communities that are centered, right? So the centrally located organizations and community. Also partner organizations, so community-based organizations, churches are involved, civic groups are involved, and making sure that a program or project like TRIP is really successful.
Jason, how do you see the promise of programs like TRIP as they replicate or scale across North Carolina?
The promise of them is that they are looking at the assets of the community. Rural solutions have to be based on the assets in rural places. What makes rural places distinctive is that they're highly personal, they're relationship driven, it's a high touch environment. So we have to look at replicating by building on what are the trusted institutions. For example, and I thought it was great that we're focusing on Hertford County through work the Rural Center is doing with the Duke Endowment. We work with 2 Methodist churches in Hertford County to help them think more creatively about how they have impact in their communities and come up on solutions. And I would love to see some examples of how do rural churches who have buses and vans that remain parked and empty during the week that can be used as a solution for transit purposes.
So let me pick up on that with you again, Hanna. What role then does a state agency have in supporting these kinds of local innovations?
So North Carolina DOT plays a couple of different roles, particularly with community public transportation systems. We are a convener. We also provide a large chunk of federal funds as a pass-through to these organizations. And then we are also FTA's eyes and ears on the ground, ensuring compliance with the numerous federal rules.
And what is FTA?
For the Federal Transit Authority.
Thank you. Brandy, does this excite you?
Very much so. I think there are innovations being created across rural communities across the state. We're excited to be able to support those organizations and networks coming together in really thoughtful and intentional ways.
Jason, what's next?
Well, I think we've got to keep testing innovation and then get to a stage where there's the peer learning across rural communities so we can get to scale. The challenge is that we can always push for innovation. It's the getting to scale that's the challenge. And in this case, it's how do we create innovative solutions that build on the public transit programs that are there, that are underfunded, they're overwhelmed, they're so that we're not undercutting the infrastructure that's there.